I'm just happy to be here.
The suspense. Happy to be here, mate. You have to, wet the mouth. Have to wet the mouth.
That's right.
Before we start, you know what I mean? Have to wet the mouth, mate.
That's right. It's been a while, Pokemon Trainer Mike. It's been a hot minute since we've.
Why'd you throw those out whenever I'm taking a drink? It has been a hot minute, mate. Yeah. It has been.
That's a warm can of pop. Right
that is. It feels cool tonight. Cool rather than warm.
Oh, cool, or maybe cute.
Shout out to episode 5.
Episode.
Let's go.
That's right.
Twisted Fruit Zero Sugar. Shout out to
that. When you want Fanta, but you just can't get away from Aldi.
You just can't. Aldi's finest. Aldi's finest.
Who
are all spot? No, they're not.
We would have made it if that was the case. But yeah, we ended episode 5 recently.
Hype is real.
It was a time ago, and we are now entering into episode 6.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the PokeCast.
Welcome.
With Brad and Mike.
Underscore,
indeed.
I don't know why you did that on the last PokeCast.
I have no idea why. It was like really underlining
Bradley.
Yeah. Bradley.
Yeah.
Episode 6.
Yeah.
And myself.
Yeah, I know.
Episode 6, mate. Episode 6. The hype is real, mate. But
happy to be here.
Me too, Bradley. But before we diverge, which is probably going to be our last chapter for Hoenn for some time. Before we should really get to the peak of this conversation, right?
We should.
We really get to the peak of this conversation.
Yeah, the peak of the conversation, which just so happens to roll in or go up and down with our sponsor.
Who you might see a random hiker running up and down as you transfer. But yes, of course, our sponsor today is, of course, the Hoenn cable car service. If you ever wanted to go and take a ride up a volcano, do you want to see...
I do.
You do. Amazing. And what about... I mean, Bradley, would you want to go see where the aftermath was of the big battle between Team Magma and Team Aqua?
Oh boy, do I.
Well, then look no further.
How? There has to be a way to do that, right?
This weekend only, the Hoenn cable car service is giving 50% off travel on a 2-way ticket up to the mountain and back down for 50% off. Just put the PokeCast with Brad and Mike when you're procuring your ticket and you'll get 50% off. Unreal, man. Unreal.
I'm sold.
Unreal.
After spending 1 million of my Pokemoney on a bicycle, this is just but a drop in the ocean.
Keeps rolling, eh? We've got to get paid.
Amen. Shout out to the Hoenn cable company.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for sponsoring episode 6. The podcast.
Yeah, episode 6.
And before we do dive in, guys, it would mean the world is if you are enjoying the content, if whatever you're watching or listening on, please smash that like button. If you're watching right now and you can see the thumb up, please smash it on YouTube. Rate us on Spotify or any of the other listening platforms. It means the world and it just helps the platform grow. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming along with this journey with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
And if you could give us a 5-star on the Uber cable car, Hoenn cable car, that would be greatly appreciated too. So, Michael, we finished up visiting the Hoenn region. We went through all the towns, all the gym leaders.
It was beautiful, Bradley.
All the Elite Four. We went through some great moments. We went through the last episode. In particular, we touched on the beauty contest. Sorry, the Pokemon contest. The Pokeblocks. We actually divulged ourselves with the Pokemon abilities as well. And obviously, before that, we had the secret bases, which was just an incredible trip down memory lane. We finished up with the legendary Pokemon with Deoxys, and where we procured that Pokemon. And as we move forward, we we have to. Well, where would you like to go? First of all, where would you like to go? Where should we take this journey?
I think.
Should we step off the cable car first?
Let's take a step off the cable car. Let's talk. Should we touch on anime?
Let's touch on anime. Let's do that.
Anime. Okay.
Because you said to me, because I haven't been as experienced in the anime of the Hoenn region, but I remember you saying that the Pokemon contests are slightly different in the anime as they were to the game. Were there any other differences or similarities between the two that were notable to you?
For sure, mate. For sure. So, I think I said this in, was it Johto? Was it in episode 2? Where my cousin invited us round and we watched the end of...
Kecleon.
That was it. Yes, it was episode 2. It was episode... There it is. And then it showed the first few episodes of Pokemon Advanced in... Good Lord. Like... where do I start? Like... I mean, it was the first time Ash deposited all of his Pokemon. He went out onto a region where this is where it all started, by the way, when he did this in every region. He would leave all of his Pokemon at Oak's lab, and he would set off on this adventure just with Pikachu, and then collect a new party to traverse the land with, exactly. And it was just wonderful. Like, the theme songs for the Hoenn anime are bangers. Every single one are bangers. And it was a whole new take. Even with not having his old Pokemon with him and stuff like that, it was all fresh new. And when he got a new partner, it felt special because like you were just, and his team had so much character, to the point where he met May. So he traveled with Ash, May.
That was like
Brock.
Misty, right? May was the equivalent sort of thing to a new friendship with May to start with, and then Brock was still in, right?
Brock came back. It was like episode 2 or 3, I think it was. He saved them. So Brock traversed with them, and it was May's little brother Max that went round with them.
Max, yeah. And then we didn't have Professor Oak this time. We had Professor Birch.
Yes.
Was it?
No, you're right. I thought something that Rowan came in my head, but that was Sinnoh. But no, you're right. You're right. It was Birch. And obviously Ash is away to go do gym leaders in the Pokemon League, and May set out to be a coordinator who was doing all the Pokemon contests. So to your point, so yes, it was very different. It was very different. It was so the way that it works. So we talked about this in the last episode, right? It was you fed Pokeblocks. It would increase a particular stat. You'd go and do appeal rounds. It was very stagnant, but that's how you did in the game. In the anime, they had 2 main rounds, right? They had the appeal round, and then they had the battle round.
There was a battle.
So what would happen was in the appeal round, it would be just one Pokemon that could use, like the games, and they would use their moves in a way that make it beautiful. Whatever, like as an example, May had it comes to mind, had a Beautifly, right? And she would use like combos of attacks to make things all sparkle, and you would get points. There was 3 judges, and cool. they would get points. Bradley, you would have loved it, mate. So you would get points based off that, and then whoever had the highest points would go into an 8-round Pokemon battle. So it'd be 8 people who go to the next round, and they battle each other to win. But it's not just an ordinary Pokemon battle. You have to use your moves in not certain ways, but when you're battling, you have to like deflect them and block moves to make your Pokemon stand out better and get appeal, right? And that you gain points from that. And at the end of it, whoever the most points basically won, or you can knock the opponent out either way. And it was such a lovely new way of showcasing Pokemon battles from what we've seen in the past. Yeah. Some of those continents battles actually, I think, were even better than some of Ash's gym battles on some occasions. They were that good. Oh, they were beautiful, mate. I still remember one when she's in the Grand Festival, which is essentially the Pokemon League, but for Pokemon contests, and she's fighting a rival at the time. And so May had Torchic in it, combustion at this time, and I still remember watching this. I remember ringing Ross, my friend, because they were doing like 3 or 4 episodes on the trot of the Grand Festival. And I was like, Ross, you have to watch this. It's like the battles are amazing. The music was amazing. And I remember Combuskin was learn Overheat when he's fighting like the rival's Absol or something like that. And it's like, it was like charging up a Kamehameha. It was like, Scan! There's Overheat blasting out. And it was just, mate, the music around it as well. It's because as soon as you started doing the Combuskin, it was like the original OG battle theme from Kanto kicking in, like the oh man, I'll have to show you the clip after. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It was so good. But yeah, man, the anime was so good, man. Double battles were introduced. Obviously, you went through the whole, and we didn't touch on this during the games, by the way, about the battle frontier that was introduced in Pokemon Emerald, which was all the battle facilities that had a place in the anime where Ash was bringing in, rotating his old Pokemon in with his new ones to battle these new facilities. Shout out to Charizard versus Articuno in the very first one, by the way.
Oh, wow.
It was incredible, mate. It was incredible. To the point where the last one, where he lost 3 times, no, he lost twice. And his third one, he went on in a 4-on-4 battle using Pikachu, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charizard. Brought them all back to have a 4-on-4 battle, and the guy had Regice and stuff. It was mate, it was incredible, man. Mate, it was incredible. It was incredible.
Talking about Ash's,
so good.
You were saying, in Pokemon Advance, he was shifting old Pokemon with new. Now, do you remember his new party of Pokemon?
When he got,
do you remember
when he got like the league, kind of like that's his team.
Do you remember it?
Pikachu.
Let's go even further back.
Oh, here we go.
Who was Ash's first Pokemon he met
that he caught
that joined his party in Pokemon Advanced?
Taylor, I want to say.
It was.
And then shout out to Swellow. Swellow was such a so good.
Then That's right.
Then
it was
Treeko.
It was, indeed. But he failed catching him originally, right? Was that right?
It was more he didn't want to come with him until like a whole episode happened where he proved his worth, and then Treeko was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll go with you.
I'll come along." But Ash does like those hard to sort of please sort of starters, doesn't he? He goes with the Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, and then Treeko. And then the third Pokemon to join his party.
I think it was Corfish, or it was.
You're right.
Yep.
It was when they were camping on Dewford Island.
That was right, Dewford Island. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, it was causing some trouble.
Feels. Oh man. Yes. And then next one.
And they became very good friends.
So they did, yes. And he was although he never evolved, Corfish, he was an absolute tank. He was an absolute tank. I remember him going 1-on-1 face to face against a Swampert in the Hoenn League. That was cool.
A Swampert versus
Focus Punch, Crab Hammer. They were battering each other. I don't know how Swampert lost to that, by the way, but it was so good. Anyway,
love that. All right, the next Pokemon that would be 1, 2, 3, number 4.
Torkoal.
It was Torkoal. Yes.
Woo! Shoo! There we go. Torkoal.
They instantly became good friends, didn't they?
And Torkoal just had this hilarious, always this thing where he sounded like a train, where he would get dead emotional, smoke would come out of his nostrils, out of his volcano, and man, love Torkoal. Great Pokemon. What a great Pokemon.
Number 5. So the 5th Pokemon to enter Ash's party in Pokemon Advanced. Who was that?
I'm really having to really think, yeah.
Oh.
Now, I know he has Snorunt, but I don't know if that's number... I think that's number 6, if memory serves, because he got that really, really late on. Hang on. Or did he not just have 5? No, he did, because he had 6 on 6 battles. Who did he have in?
There were 2 more.
Oh, my lord. Don't tell us. Let me work it out. Pikachu, Swellow, Grovyle, Torkoal, Glalie, and...
So yes, you were correct, Snowrunt into Glalie, and he was a bit upset with Snowrunt because what did Snowrunt do to Ash in the anime that made him a little bit angry at Snowrunt?
Did he keep freezing him?
He kept he took his gym badges.
Oh, that's right. Oh, man, what a throwback. Oh, right, hold on. Who we're missing here? Who we're missing? Let me just go through the gyms. You had Treeko versus that. You had Treeko again. We've talked about Swellow. What was number 3? Number 3 was Watson, but that was Pikachu Overkill. Flannery was next, and he had Corfish, Pikachu, and I think Grovyle. What is it? Oh my lord. I can't see it.
So it was quite late. So I'm going to give you a bit of a hint.
I'm going to kick
during myself. It was during a Pokemon contest.
And this was
right at the.
So who did he have on the 6v6 battles in the Hoenn League now? Because he didn't have Apom at that stage.
This was right at the end when he officially joined the party, and it was when he was it was caught during his Pokemon Frontier journey.
Pokemon Frontier journey.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
And so after that, he was going to start his Sinnoh journey with Pikachu, but Ash also ended up being joined by Apom as she followed him, but he let her stay with him for his new journey. So technically, Apom was Alpha Sapphire and advanced. But it was just right at the end. I was curious to see if you caught on to that.
Did I not miss one then? Because I thought we had 6 there.
No.
Pikachu,
you had 6. You Pikachu, Swellow, Sceptile, Corfish, Torkoal, and Glalie.
That's right. 6. There we go. And yes, Napalm was towards the end. I remember. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So good, mate. So good. It was just because obviously they'd updated all the anime at this point. All of the it wasn't the original whatever the dimensions of the square. It was full. It was all refreshed. The art style, it was beautiful, and some of the battles were just glorious, man. I got just so many lovely memories, mate. It was just lush, mate. It was so good.
And did you know that each one of the main supporting characters, or including Ash, had one of the starter Pokemon as well? They all had one starter Pokemon. So we had May had Torchic, Ash had Treeko, and Brock had Mudkip.
And Brock's was the only one that didn't fully evolve. It evolved to Marsh Stomp, but it never went to Swampert. But everyone else's Sceptile and Blaziken happened. Blaziken was like the second last episode, though, by the way. Sceptile happened when Sceptile evolved, by the way. It was it was so good. I still remember the day I watched that as well, by the way. Still remember the day I watched that. I went out with some friends. I was getting the bus and we were going into town to watch something, but I'd seen that just before I left. I remember seeing him evolve and being like, yes! It was brilliant.
Now, do you remember in the anime which gym match
Go on.
he had to go through a rematch for? So there was a gym battle in the anime, and Ash had to go through a rematch for it.
So there was 2 that happened on?
Oh, really? There was 2?
So the first one in... Oh, no, hold on. Did he... I'm trying to think of Rustrobo versus Roxanne. I can't remember if he had to... Did he rematch on that?
It was the second badge.
So I remember Duford because he lost to Makuhita. Makuhita evolved and had to fight Hariyama. No, he mustn't have done that. I think he did just beat Roxanne. It was only Duford. That's right, Duford Island.
Yeah,
with Surf and Broly and his Hariyama. Oh, Hariyama! What a Pokemon! I love Hariyama. Mate, it was so good, man. I honestly would agree.
It sounds like there was some really good memories, some good things in that show.
There was some wild things they did, I mean. I still remember his 6th gym battle No, sorry, I beg your pardon. It was the 7th gym battle when he's fighting Liza and Tate.
Yeah.
And he's battling Solrock and Lunatone with Pikachu and Swellow. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's using an electric Pokemon and a flying type against 2 rock Pokemon. Go figure. But then they did this plot armor where they made Pikachu use Thunder in the air, right?
Okay.
He jumped on top of Swellow. Thunder came down, hit him and Swellow. Swellow getting tapped by Thunder. Then they got clad in this like Thunder armor. The golden, and then they used this like quick attack combo where it was like this massive attack to win the battle. It was crazy, mate. They did some wild things, like, but it was really good. The battle frontier at the end when they were rotating some of his old Pokemon to bring them back in after a few years to battle strong. Like I remember the fighting one where they brought back Snorlax, and Snorlax was just going to town. Tauros is in one of them. Donphan and some other ones. It was just lovely, mate. It was good fun. It was good fun.
That sounds lovely, though. That sounds really nice.
And I still watch the anime to this day. 20 plus years, however long it's been. We're watching. I know I mentioned this in episode 2, but we are going through Johto at the moment, and I can't wait to see the end of it. And then not to see the end of it, but you know what I mean. But then I just can't wait to get into Hoenn again and rewatch Hoenn right the way through, because I've not done that since I was a kid. Can't wait to do that, man. I can't wait, man. So good, man. So good.
I'm looking forward to watching these movies.
Mate, the Hoenn movies. Jirachi and the Wishmaker.
Yeah.
Destiny Deoxys. Mate, it's so good. Can I give you the TLDR what happens in Destiny Deoxys, right?
You can't. I can't.
You want to surprise it completely?
We're gonna watch that together.
That's fine. I'm locked in. I'm locked in.
You know, we'll start with Pokemon Forever because I haven't seen that, and then we'll be moving forward from that.
Oh, can't wait. Oh, mate, hype is real. Hype is real.
Now, I know you wanted to touch on the TCG around that time as well, around that Ruby and Sapphire and the Hoenn TCG. What were some of your sort of favorite moments about that and about that sort of set in that area?
So you'd think, loving Hoenn, that you'd be like, oh, PTM must like have a treasure trove of Hoenn Pokemon cards, right?
That'd be a logical conclusion one could get to.
One would get to. Unfortunately, that's actually the era, or just before Ruby and Sapphire trading card games started coming out, that I actually stopped collecting cards. Actually stopped. So there's two reasons. Right? I mean, everyone around me had stopped pretty much using the cards, right? It was all about the games, right? Everyone was on about the games. It was the games, and everyone around has lost interest, right? One point. And as a kid, you're with the crowd, right? Like you just follow around and everything. That was a partial reason, but the main reason, right, that I completely stopped is because all my cards actually got stolen.
Wow.
So in Johto era,
yeah,
I had you're talking these ridiculously expensive cards now from Neo Genesis or the Neo eras, Gym Leader cards, the lot. I had loads, and I was very silly. And it would have been year 7, however old we would have been then. Yeah, year 7. I took them into school because I was going to a friend's house. I wanted to take them.
Oh no!
But you weren't allowed to take them into school, so that was a thing, right? But I knew, so only a select few people knew that I'd taken those cards into school. And then when I went at lunchtime to check my bag, they were all gone. And I know very clearly who it was that's done it. There was 3 of them. I know who they were to this day. But because obviously when you were at school and the teacher said, look, they're banned from school, you don't do them. I was obviously too afraid to go to the teacher at the time to say, your Pokemon cards have been nicked, because then I would have been in trouble for not, which is ridiculous, right? Like I should have, because they would have ransacked the place and I probably would have got them back. But no, literally 95% of my collection was gone, completely gone, and it flattened it so much that I really didn't pick it back up again till Generation 6 X and Y era, 2012 era. Back then, so, which is a shame, right? Because we had Ruby and Sapphire EX, we had Emerald EX, we had the Fire Red and Leaf Green sets. That whole era of cards is incredible, and I missed out on all of it. Massive. Yeah. Honestly, it's regret, massive regret. Missed all of it, which is a massive shame, really.
I mean, look, you can still get them in Espanol.
Espanol, you know? Exactly. I mean, my goal, right on the channel is to open up a full booster box of EX Ruby and Sapphire or EX Emerald. That's my app. No, we'll do it OG. I would love to open up a box of that. And I mean, they are going for thousands of pounds. So if we win the lottery, probably. But we have opened up, to your point, we have opened up some Spanish ones over the time of the channel. We have pulled a Hollow Blaziken, because the hollows were the big ones right back then. We pulled a Hollow Blaziken, which was hype, but man, there was just so many good Swampert cards and Metagross cards, and it makes us sad every time. I never got to get them, so yeah, man.
It's quite surreal that we both had a similar experience. I mean, when I think I mentioned this in the first episode, but you know, I hadn't, like yourself, I know exactly who did it. I had my 151 collector's binder back then. It was this big black sort of like typical file thing with little polyester or whatever you'd call them, little sleeve things that you put Pokemon cards into it. Yeah. And this guy who was supposedly meant to be my friend at the time, he went in and nicked my Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise. You know, so I know the feeling, and there are just, you know, but just as there are some people out there who are like that, that doesn't mean it has to take away our joy. And I'm so glad that you got back into it. I know it took you a few years, but it was so glad you got back into it, and you didn't let that hold you down. Just like with myself, you know, it's just, you know, it's that love of Pokemon. You can only push it away for so long before Pikachu wraps his arms around you and pulls you right back into
100%, mate. It will never go away. My whole idea was, now that I'm back into collecting, is if I start to get those cards that I knew I had back into my collection over time, to just bring them back. I know it's not similar, but I mean, we're talking about the Shining Gyarados from Neo. Like, it's a beautiful, I don't know if you've seen that card. It's a gorgeous one. I had, like, the legendary dogs from Neo, Espeon, Umbreon, Pichu, and various other ones. So the idea is to get to a point where I restock. We go back through and get them all back in. So that's one at a time anyway. So, look, it happens. But yes, that's to your point, mate. That's what the channel's been built on recently, about is the cards, and I'm happy to be back on it. Love it. Absolutely love it.
So, we've touched on the anime of the Hoenn region. We've touched on the TCG of the Hoenn region. Is there any other part of Hoenn? Obviously, we've got Oras in the future, and we've got some things that we want to talk about with Oras. Can't wait to go into those. But before we step on the SSN title, SSN, a boat of some description or cable car.
Okay.
Is there any other sites that you'd like to see while we're both sitting next to each other, looking out across the horizon?
Oh, that's beautiful, mate. That was lovely.
Could you imagine an art piece? You and I, like a lot younger, right? With like some like Pokemon t-shirt, like next to each other with two Game Boys, a link cable, and then there's just this big image of this cable car, and there's this big window, and the window is just like all these different Pokemon things, just like these contrasty, saturated colors of all the different vibes that were Hoenn. Sort of, we're just there, and that's just all out while we're looking down at our Game Boys. That would be a beautiful art piece.
When we do BOIC in February, let's take a cable car ride over the docks in back. Just stay on it and go around and recreate it. I'm in. I'll take my Game Boy. Let's take that picture.
Let's take our Game Boys and get the link cable. Love that.
I'm locked in, mate. I'm locked in. Before I go to the next thing, I just need to very quickly check a date on something. Before I forget. Which is... All right. Yes, I do. So let me take you to 2004.
Okay.
May 14th.
Okay, I'm 11 years old. It's a good time to be alive.
How old was that? 12, 13?
Jesus. That's
Wow. Yeah. Show my age a bit there, Alma. Show my age a bit.
Ooh. Yeah. Ooh.
So, on that day, the first ever console RPG of Pokemon was released that day in the form of Pokemon Colosseum.
Meanwhile, I was playing Super Mario, Mario Kart Double Dash, Super Mario Bros. Melee, and
Super Mario
I was
Sunshine, whatever else.
Super Mario Sunshine,
Great
Super
games.
Monkey Ball 2. We had just some absolute beautiful Pokemon Channel, I think, as well. Was
The Nintendo GameCube was stacked of bangers. Like what a console, by the way, mate.
Incredible.
Console. Did you ever play Donkey Konga?
Never. I never played a Donkey Kong game pretty much ever, apart from Diddy Kong Racing and Nintendo 64. Apart from that, nope.
So the Donkey Konga was the controller was two.
Yes, an arcade at the metro station. I think it was that I played that. Yeah.
And you played it. Oh man, it was class. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
I had no idea what I was doing. I was a kid. I was just like,
by the way, with the drum. Oh man, it's so good. I've still got mine to this day in the loft. Still got both of them.
Mate, you're gonna have to put a lock on that loft. The more you keep telling people about the things you've got
There's
up
nothing in there. There's nothing in there.
No,
Nothing at all. But yes, May 14th, 2004.
Yeah.
Pokemon Trainer Mike had been out on a school trip somewhere. Oh, ding. Oh, mate. So PTM had been on a school trip. He'd come back on the coach. He's in year 8 of school.
Year 8.
And his mum had picked him up because he was taking him to Toys R Us.
Oh.
To pick up Pokemon Colosseum.
There we are.
And very similar to the story of how we got Pokemon Ruby, where on the calendar, that entire month of May was destroyed. That first 2 weeks where it was like Pokemon Colosseum comes out in 14 days. Pokemon Colosseum comes out in 13 days. Every single day. Chores were done. Many chores were done leading up into that day. And PTM's mum picked him up from school, drove to Toys R Us. And there it was, straight away. Pokemon Colosseum. The artwork on these full cardboard cutouts. And they also had a special, like a TV. Would have been that big. Probably that big. One of these gigantic fat ones, huge ones, would have been that big. Plugged it in. And you start the game where the main hero does some sort of explosion in some sort of base, and he's getting away in his bike, his floaty bike, with an Espeon and an Umbreon.
Yeah.
And you start the game in a desert in some sort of Wild West kind of thing. Oh, the music. I'm hearing the music as I'm talking to you. I'm literally hearing the soundtrack as I'm talking to you. And the game is all double battles all the way through. There's no single battles.
Yeah.
And your first starter, level 25 and 26, both level 25. Can't remember. Espeon and Umbreon. You start off with Espeon and Umbreon. And what... I still remember my mum going, play it, but you don't sit this because this was a Friday it came out. Then May 14th was a Friday. So you're not sitting all weekend playing on that.
Of course you are.
And I remember playing it on Friday night, Saturday morning, and I was like, you know what, I should go out and play. Put the controller down. Went outside with everyone who was playing outside on the field and everything. My little brother was out there, various other things. I was there for 5 minutes, and I was just like, nah, I'm not into this. Straight home, straight back on, and I played that game all weekend, mate. Everything from it, like the whole RPG side of it, seeing... Because obviously we've only ever seen 3D Pokemon in games in Pokemon Stadium, right? Where it's purely just the battles, and we'd never seen a full open RPG on a console for Pokemon, and it was just mind blowing from going from sprites to walking around as a character.
I mean, I didn't know. I didn't think it was meant to be a Pokemon game in the franchise when I was playing it. I was like, what is this sort of thing? I didn't know what was going on. But then the more you play it, like, it was quite an adult game. It's quite a, it really set some mature settings, and you really, it was Pokemon, but it didn't feel like Pokemon. It was quite more grown up. And I remember being, they were tough battles as well, really tough battles when we were young kids. They were, there was no messing about. There was it wasn't as much of a, go out and grind. That, I mean, yes, you could, but like, I didn't know that at the time. I was just like, wait, I'm these people, and I'm just walking through the story innocently. And it was this barren wasteland, but then these beautiful cities with these, like, I mean, obviously you had those sort of very run down outskirt cities, but then you had those like those inner cities with the oasis of water, or when it would change the landscape to the beautiful green ones at the purification with Celebi and such, which it was just beautiful, wasn't it? It was beautiful. Some of the scene setting was just absolutely beautiful, and of course the music being would you call that jazz inspired or bluesy jazz, or what would you?
It was a mix of both.
Funky,
a mix of both. Yeah. Like, some of the rundown cities had it was a saxophone in nearly every city you went into, right? Like, without a doubt.
Went from trumpets to saxophones.
It did. Da, 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 da. Oh, that entire soundtrack is wonderful, by the way. But the boss battles, to your point, mate, I still remember where obviously you're catching shadow Pokemon, and I remember the first boss battle was you were going to, was it Mount Battle or was it Mount 100? What was it called? Oh no, it's gonna kick us now. I need to find it. Hold on 2 seconds. Where's GameCube? Generation 3. Pokémon Colosseum. It was called. What was it called? It was definitely. Was it called Battle Mountain? Is that what it was called? Let me just have a quick look.
Battle?
It was Battle Mountain, I beg your pardon. Shout to Cerebi.net again. Battle Mountain, and you'd go and do the first kind of, like, so you could battle 100 trainers, right? And if you beat the 100 trainer, you get gifted a Ho-Oh at the end if you'd captured and purified every single shadow Pokemon in the game. I remember doing that, good lord. But anyway, I remember the first boss battle in there, the guy had a Shadow Entei, and I remember that Shadow Entei just one-shotting everything. He was just fire blasting. He was using his Shadow Rush, whatever the shadow move was called at the time, and he was just annihilating. And that happened with Suicune. Shout out to Suicide. Raikou as well. Swizine, beg your pardon. It was just incredible. Like, it was such an amazing new take on Pokemon, how you would catch them, because you couldn't catch a wild Pokemon in Pokemon Colosseum.
No, you had to snag them.
You had to steal them back, all the shadow ones.
Right.
And it was just so many fond memories.
Do you remember the actual starter? And how you, because there were 3 starters that you could get that weren't Espeon or Umbreon, but you actually had 3 genuine starters.
Oh, yes.
Now the gimmick is that they didn't start at level 1. In fact, you didn't even get to see the pre-evolution. You got them in their second.
That's right.
Evolution state. Do you remember which ones they were and which one you got?
I do, mate. So in Phoenix City, which the music for Phoenix City, I can hear it now. Can you remember the Phoenix City one?
No.
Oh, mate, it's just like beautiful strings, violin, very calming because it's all about water and stuff, and it is absolutely wonderful.
So I'm gonna. This city was amazing. I'm gonna do it I'm gonna play it for people listening as well for such a short amount of time that we won't get copyright striked.
Do it. We can't hear it.
Oh yeah. And then little
harmonica.
I stopped it just in time for copyright strikes, but
But
Wow.
even it's the opening bit where you first go into the city. It's just this one. I'll play it so we can hear it. It's Fnac City theme. Oh, mate. So to answer your question, obviously that's the first major town / city you go to.
Yeah.
I think one of the first shadow Pokemon you get is Makuhita, which I was buzzing my face off, by the way, because I loved Hariyama, who as you know, he was in my original team. I remember Captain Makuhita, and you come out, and what I did not know at the time, by the way, that there was 3 exits to Fnac City.
That's true.
Blocked by 3 trainers, 3 peons. One that was red, one was blue, and one was green, representative of the second stage Pokemon that they had. And each one, the red one had Quilava, blue one had Croconaw, and the green one had Bayleaf. Now,
that's right.
I didn't know this was a choice.
Me neither.
So my first one, I went through the door that I knew, which was the door the only door that I knew was in Fnac City, and I ran into the blue trainer. No.
Oh, blue. Okay.
So I picked up Croconaw.
Okay.
What about you?
It was Quilava for me.
It
was Quilava for me. I got very lucky.
Oh wow.
So the pre-order bonus we got is we got a Pokemon GameCube memory card. I remember this. We had a memory card. It was grey and it had the Pokemon Colosseum sticker on top of it, and that's what we got in our game box because we were on.
I'll have that as well. I must have got it as well. Yeah. I remember it was grey and it had the logo on it. Yeah. Yes. Oh man, what a time! I remember
specifically using that as my save for Pokemon Colosseum.
So good, mate. But do you remember? Now this might be a real push into the memory banks. But do you recall sort of a final-ish team that you used, or was that going a bit too?
Let's see what we can do. While I'm sort of reminding myself of the available shadow Pokemon that were there, because I remember purifying, I think, a great amount of Pokemon. I used to love. Yeah. I used to feel it was my duty to go and find all the shadow Pokemon, go back to Celebi in that grassy, lovely town, take him to that sort of fountain or a spring or whatever it was.
Oh, love that. Oh, the village. I can't remember what the name is. Is it a Gat village? I think it was. But the music for a Gat village is on another level as well, mate. It's absolutely beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful.
You had go on. I called it Agate village, but you had All Colosseum, you had Pyrite Town, Realgam Tower.
That's right, yeah.
I remember that. You had Fnac City, you had Outskirts Stand, you had the Shadow Pokemon Laboratory.
That's right, yes. All neon lights and that, very cool, yep.
That's right. You had Agate Village or Agates Village.
Whichever.
Yeah. Mount Battle. And you obviously had the Snag'em Hideout and the Under.
Oh, what's called Mount Battle then? I thought it was called Mount Battle. Nice. Unreal. Should I give you a feel what my team was, right? That I can remember. I think it's very, very easy. I think it was I had Espeon and Umbreon, obviously, 2 starters.
Yeah.
For Alligator at this point. Entei, I'm fairly certain it was Entei, Suicune, and Raikou.
Yeah.
I think that was me 6. I think that was it.
That sounds like a solid team. This was actually the time where Japan had the only way of getting 3 Pokemon, and it was in the Card E room, and this wasn't available. This was what I had seen in a video that was talking about Pokemon Colosseum, and that was that Togepi, Mareep, and Scizor were only available via that Card e-reader, and that was only available in Japan, apparently.
What? What? I need to. That's wild. Area compatibility. Oh yeah, see?
Yeah.
That is insane.
Now, I remember getting a Flaffy. That was 100% something that I was running.
I'm telling you a lie. Sorry, you're absolutely right. I failed to catch Raikou, and it was Ampharos I had on my team. That's who I had on. Sorry, you've just rejogged my memory. Sorry, but go on. Yeah, your team.
I remember getting a Quagsire. I remember getting the Skiploom, but I wasn't interested. I remember the Ferret, the Yanma, the Remoraid, the Mantine. Mantine was on my team for a while. I'm pretty sure I had Meditite. I'm pretty sure, but as soon as I saw Swablu, man, as soon as I got my Swablu, I mean, there was no other choice. We of course got to the Woodo, but I think so I'm starting to remember now. Oh my god, this is such a throwback. Oh wow. Okay, Flygon was definitely on my team. I had Delibird for so long, dude. It was a surprise present or some rubbish that I was just so into using.
Spamming
so
present.
We had. Oh, it was such an unfortunate incident that occurred with me. Tokatic was definitely part of it. You also had 2 other Pokemon that you had to download, and that was Japanese only. Also had Pikachu. And then the US bonus disc had Jirachi. So there was that. Celebi as well. Only Japanese bonus disc. That was right. Yeah, that was the other 2.
Right.
But yeah, so I definitely had Flygon. I had Espeon Umbreon, but I swapped out the Umbreon for Absol, I think it was.
I mean, great choice, right?
Yeah. Skarmory.
Yep.
100% was definitely going to be there. And that was for Swizine, of course, making his appearance for 5. And I don't think I remember the last one. It might have been, a mixture, but I think it was Houndoom, actually. It might have been Houndoom, or it might have been... Yeah, I think we'll probably go with Houndoom. I think that was what I had.
I'm getting the full-on vibes to play it now. Like, I was such a beautiful game, man.
It was ahead of its time by a mile.
It was.
It was but they're going to want to really cater now to the vast audience, whereas Pokemon Colosseum, I feel like, was more aimed at, like, more of a mature audience. And, if we got that now, man...
If that, imagine the remake. Stop. It's 20 years old this year, I've just realised. That game is 20 years old.
I'm remembering it like I was yesterday.
Mate, it's wild. And
on my little SCART, with the little SCART connectors.
Oh,
the red, white, and yellow that you'd scrape into the side of your TV.
The SCART cable going in. Oh man, I still remember when I finally got, because you could. So when you'd miss catching the Pokemon, I remember being gutted. I was like, that's it. And obviously at the end of the game, you have an opportunity to go through and recapture them through various trainers.
That's right.
So it was at this point that
the replay battle, right?
The replay battle, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was at that point that I realised you could get Quilava in Bayleaf at that point. I was like, no. But I remember catching all of them, purifying them all, and then I went to Mount Battle and did the 100 battles, and I remember at the end, and you got that level 70 Ho-Oh as a gift for completing the game, and I was like, I've done it. Done it all. 100%ed it.
Yeah, that's one of us.
Unreal.
I didn't even know the 100 battle existed, mate. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Wowzers
indeed. Wowzers indeed.
Can I tell you one last other quick story on Pokemon?
You most certainly can.
Colosseum before we may have to dip in the XD Gale of Darkness. Yeah, but for Colosseum, very quickly, I remember my friend had it was my brother. He had one of those action replay cartridges, and we were trying forever to try and get a code to get like because obviously in Ruby and Sapphire you couldn't get like Charmander and the OG Pokemon and stuff like that. and we were trying forever. We would do dial up internet to try and
AOL.
AOL. It was AOL. It was AOL. Yeah, exactly. I remember going on trying to find the right code. We only had a set amount of time on the internet. And I remember trying to find the code, and we failed for ages. We went on was Super Cheats a website I recall, or game FAQs, something like that.
Yeah.
And we find loads of these codes using the action replay to get Charmander, etc. And it never worked. And then one day, we found a random one, and I popped it in, and I was in Route 101, and I walked into the grass, and Bulbasaur popped out. I was like, it's worked! Grabbed Bulbasaur, got Charmander, got Squirtle, right? And then 12-year-old PTM was like, because you could transfer them, you could connect Ruby and Sapphire to Pokemon Colosseum, couldn't you? You could transfer Pokemon up to use in that Mount Battle. You might not have known that because you didn't go into Mount Battle, but you could transfer your Pokemon, your original party game from Ruby, into Colosseum and play through with them, right? So me going, I could probably break the game. Yeah, could I transfer a Bulbasaur, Squirtle into a Charmander into Pokemon Colosseum? You absolutely could.
And they were all animated with all that. No way.
And I was at my cousin's house when we found this out, right? And I did it once for him and once for me, so we had the three of them. And I just remember going through Mount Battle, leveling up the Charmander with XP share or whatever, leveling them up and seeing them evolve and getting to the point where we had Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur, and seeing them in full 3D on the GameCube. And I just remember just having nearly tears of joy. I was just like, oh my lord, we've actually got them. Oh, it was so good. And then we proceeded to pretty much get every single one we could possibly get into the game that we couldn't before. And it was just wonderful, mate. It was so good. I also didn't realize. I also didn't realize at the point where you did. If you could connect your Game Boy to it, and you could do battles.
You could do Mystery Gift as well. You could do Secret Gift as well.
Secret Gift.
Yeah.
And you could do actual battles using your Game Boy and the party there, play it on Colosseum. And I remember if you use Ruby, the character that was being used, the avatar in the game, was actually the NPCs, the characters that you can pick from Ruby and Sapphire. And then from later on down the line as well, we could do when you plugged in Fire Red and Leaf Green in, it would actually be Red and Leaf would actually be on the screen battling if you used those save files and those gives me, man. It was what a time to be alive, man. What a time to be alive.
It really was.
So
it really
good,
was.
Mate. So good, man.
I mean, we've basically gone through some really nice memories in the Pokemon anime that was Pokemon Advanced. We've touched on some bittersweet memories from the TCG around that era. And we've, of course, had a nice stop by for, I guess over there it would be some sort of concoction of drink in the Pokemon Colosseum. And we went all through that. We have, of course, coming up next, we have got touching on, of course, the Gale of Darkness, XD Gale of Darkness, with shout out to Shadow Lugia. And then, just as you were talking about Red and Leaf there, Pokemon Fire Red and Pokemon Leaf Green.
Oh,
and
man.
One thing we didn't do in episode 1, which I think really was really great with Ruby and Sapphire when we went through that, is going through the towns, the gyms.
I'm locked in.
The updated such of things that obviously went through. What an incredible game as well. What incredible remaster that game was. So all to look forward to as we start moving forward into Fire Red, Leaf Green. As we start moving forward into Pokemon Gen 4 into Pokemon, the Sinnoh region.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
oh.
with Pokemon Platinum, Pokemon Diamond
and Pearl.
Diamond Pearl. Sorry. Platinum was
Platinum was the third
Platinum
one.
Was the
yes.
Emerald, right? Yeah.
And then we go into Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Heart Gold,
down
which I'm
that
playing
time.
right now.
Oh,
Right now, I'm playing it on
we've got
my
so
phone.
Mate, and I've got some lovely stories of XD Gale of Darkness, mate. Like, what a time. That was a Christmas. I'm not going to it now, but we've got some lovely. And for Fire Red and Leaf Green, which I'm sure you do too. It's going to be.
Loads.
It's going to be wonderful, mate. It's going to be wonderful. But
It was magical.
it
Magical.
always is, Bradley. It's always a pleasure. It really, really is every single time. Every single time. So, with that, folks, I hope you've enjoyed episode 6.
Episode 6?
6 of the PokeCast with Brad and Mike. As I mentioned at the beginning, guys, just make sure if you are enjoying the content, please, it helps us massively if you can interact with the video. Either drop us a comment, like the video. If you've got any memories from what we've touched on today that you want to share about Pokemon XD, the TCG, whatever, let us know. We'd absolutely love to hear. We always reply back. Both of us do separately. We all like to hear a take. If you are listening on any of the other platforms, make sure you're dropping a rating, whatever it is that you can interact with, please do it. It just helps massively. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching and listening. I really appreciate it. Anything else to cover off in closing, Bradley?
Well, what I say, guys, is that if there's a heartfelt story that you've got from back in the Hoenn region to close off this chapter with us, feel free to let us know. We really do love to read through every comment that comes up, and just to see the experience that you guys have, sort of share with us. It's absolutely lovely to read through. So if you've got any stories to sort of close off the Hoenn region before we obviously revisit Noras, then let us know. And otherwise, thanks for listening. This is episode 6, and I'm just happy to be here.
I knew you were going to say that. I was waiting for it. I'm happy to be here too, mate. Always am. So thank you for listening / watching, guys, and we'll see you in episode 7. Cheers, guys. Bye for now.